This is great. This is truly fantastic. It was literally just seconds ago that I finished watching the second episode of X-Men 97. Of course, two-episode premiere today, and it's so good. I see now why it has a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. This it's just so good. I rewatched some of X-Men the animated series in preparation for this. I rewatched the whole first season and I think maybe half of the second season. It got into some episodes that I didn't really care about, and I got a little bored with it, and also I just didn't have time. But this show perfectly captures what that original series was. I mean, so many shows. A big thing today in Hollywood is nostalgia, because that makes money. So there's been a lot of movies and series that are sequels to or reboots of beloved franchises and stories and characters, and most of the time they're not really done well. But this, I think, is one of the best I've ever seen, because this is a straight up continuation that feels exactly like the same series that we had in the 90s, and possibly even better. Because the thing with this is, obviously the animation style is very similar to what we got in X-Men the animated series, but it's still updated, it's still modern, and I think better, which should be obvious, is 2024 versus 1996 whenever this came out. Yeah, so huge upgrade there, and I love that they didn't make this a kids show. This is still a very adult show, and in some ways even more adult than the original series. It still tackles real pressing matters, real adult themes. Still, all these years later, Wolverine is still in love with Jean Grey, which is so depressing and heartbreaking, but hilarious at the same time. Man, he's really going through it. But yeah, it's great. The voice cast as well. They did bring back most of the original voice cast. It's interesting how some of the original voice cast is voicing their original characters, and then some of the original voice cast are voicing new characters in this show. And for the most part, everybody sounds great, both new and old actors. Beast, I think, sounds fantastic. Cyclops, they have a new actor for him, but he sounds great. The only one that I really had an issue with was Rogue, which is a little disappointing because it is the original actress from the series, but I mean, you can hear in the voice that she's aged a bit. So that is a little disappointing, especially because Rogue was, I think, one of, if not my favorite character in that original series, and just her voice was so distinct. So it's cool that they brought back the original actress. It's just she sounds on the older side, but given something that happens here, I guess maybe it's good that she sounds older. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll keep it non-spoilers for now, but yeah, this is just a great adaptation of the X-Men. You have the team on full display. Of course, Cyclops taking up the reins. Professor X is dead because he died at the end of X-Men the animated series, and now here Cyclops is the leader, and he has a real spotlight on that. Why is Siri talking to me? Oh well.
I can't help you with that on Mac.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, anyway, back to X-Men. Cyclops, when I was rewatching X-Men the animated series, I was really looking at it from a perspective of, when I looked at Rogue, I was like, oh man, this is a really rich character because of her story being so tragic. She just wants to love, she just wants to be loved, she just wants to touch another person, and she can't. And there's just a tragicness and a sadness to her character. And then I was looking at a character like Cyclops, and I was like, he's cool and everything, but he's also kind of a dick. Like, he's a little bit of a douchebag. Like, I don't know. I just don't really love his character. But here, you get some behind the scenes and actually some explanation as to why he acts that way. He also doesn't act that way completely here as well, so he's a little bit nicer. But there's a lot of pressure on him trying to be the new leader, especially now that the professor is gone. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He's got a lot riding on him. So I thought that was really handled nicely here. Wolverine, of course, big standout as well. He doesn't do a whole lot in these episodes other than simp over Jean, but man, Jean, of course, is pregnant in this series, and seeing Logan have to deal with that, it's rough, man. I've been there. It actually just today, yikes, heartbreak and seeing the love of your life move on with other people. It's not a great feeling. But yeah, speaking of Wolverine though, I love his dynamic with Morph. Morph, it's great to have him back here. Morph actually here is portrayed as a non-binary character. That's why Morph is often appearing with sort of a blank face, looking almost like the Chameleon, like Spider-Man villain Chameleon, which I think is an interesting choice. It makes sense for the character because Morph shapeshifts can be man or woman, so it makes sense. It's interesting. And Morph is at some points that original male looking design like he had in the original series. So I thought that was cool. A bunch of people are calling this show woke. I mean, did you not watch X-Men, the animated series? The X-Men have always been woke. I mean, it depends on your definition of woke. It's really not woke. I mean, it's literally just the X-Men as characters and as a team was designed to be a metaphor for so many things in real life, including racism and bigotry against, sexuality and gender and all that stuff. So I think this is a really good time to have the X-Men in our lives because we could really use it. Magneto was really interesting here. We saw in the trailer that supposedly Professor X has left everything that he has built, everything he fought for has been left to Magneto. So what's he going to do with that? How is he going to take this? He is now taking charge of the X-Men. There's some interesting stuff in play here. The theme song, of course, fantastic. I love how they recreated the intro, same exact shots and everything, just with the new animation style and with some of these other newer characters added in here as well. Bishop also joins the team. It's great. The action was fantastic. And I think this is at the point now where I want to talk spoilers. There's not really a whole lot to talk about with spoilers from the first episode, but man, this second episode, Magneto's got his whole thing going on. He's pardoned by the president, all that stuff. That's cool and everything. But Jean has her baby, which was nice. She and Cyclops were talking about leaving the team, but now that Magneto's here, they're not going to do that. Or Jean still wants to, but Scott is like, no, I don't trust Magneto. So I'm really excited to see that play out as this goes on. But really the big thing is at the end of there's three big things we need to talk about. At the end of the episode, Storm loses her powers due to the Executioner, which was a cool villain that was introduced here. She loses her powers and she leaves the team. She gets on a bus and she leaves, which was really incredibly unexpected. Like, does this mean she's not coming back? Like, that's crazy. Storm is one of my favorite characters, so that's a little disappointing, but I mean, it makes sense for her character. It's just, like I said, I literally just finished watching it a couple minutes ago, so I'm still in shock from it, but that was crazy. You know what else is crazy though? Going back to speaking of Rogue and Magneto, they're a couple. Like, something is being set up here with those two. Speaking of couples though, Jubilee and Sunspot, I like that. That was cool. Rogue and Magneto, a little weird. Because obviously, I mean, Rogue and Gambit have always been an on again, off again thing in this show. But especially in this first episode, man, Gambit was risen her up. And now she's going for Magneto. Like, I get it from the perspective of somehow she can touch him. And, like, that's cool and everything. But, first of all, she's just ditching Gambit. Second of all, think of the age difference. I mean, Magneto is the same age as Professor X was. Professor X was like a father to these people. So if you think about it, Magneto's like their crazy uncle that Rogue is now hooking up with. I mean, literally, he's got gray hair. Sure, she has some white hair as well, but that's not because of age. That was weird, but at the same time, it really intensifies the drama here and gets me excited to see what's happening next. But then the big thing at the end of the episode is the doorbell rings. Morph opens the door, and Jean is there saying, "Oh, you have to help me." But then you turn around, and Jean is in the back of the room with Scott holding the baby. So what's going on here? It's one of these Mystique, possibly. That's my theory. I mean, I feel like it's got to be a shapeshifter. But then the question is, which one is the real Jean? I mean, I would assume it's the one that just had the baby, unless somebody else was pregnant. I don't know. Like I said, this is very adult compared to what I was expecting. Like, there's so much drama going on here, but I love this. Like, this is a show that I expected this to be like another What If, where, oh, it's a Marvel animated show, so I can just wake up and, watch it whenever throughout the day, wait and watch it at night or something. But I think I might have to go back to my old habits with the MCU Disney Plus shows and start waking up at 3 a.m. to watch these when they drop, like, to avoid spoilers and stuff, because things are getting crazy for the X-Men. It's really crazy, but like I said, I love it. This is fantastic. It's really, really great, and I'm incredibly excited to see where this goes. So far am kind of liking this better than the original series, which is crazy, but yeah, so guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you watch the first 2 episodes of X-Men 97, and what did you think about it? What did you think about all those big twists and turns and reveals and setups in specifically episode 2? Because things are going down, people. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.